Well, new controversy for Planned Parenthood after its attempts to clarify a controversial statement. This started during Holy Week when one of the group's representatives testified to some Florida lawmakers that she was unsure whether Planned Parenthood would save the life of a baby born as the result of a botched abortion. Listen to this.
If a baby is born on a table as a result of a botched abortion, what would Planned Parenthood want to have happen to that child that's struggling for life?
We believe that any decision that's made should be left up to the woman, her family, and the physician.
You stated that that a baby born on a table as a result of a botched abortion, that decision should be left to the doctor and the family. Is that what you're saying? That decision should be between the patient and the healthcare provider. I think that at that point, the patient would be the child struggling on a table. Wouldn't you agree? That's a very good question. I really don't know how to answer that.
What objection could you possibly have to obligate a doctor to transport a child born alive to a hospital?
What about this, and I'm just speaking out loud here, what about the situations where it's in a rural healthcare setting?
When it's in a rural healthcare setting. And she went on to say, where the hospital to which the baby would have to be transferred, it could be as much as 45 minutes away. What would you do? Well, reaction to that obviously blew up. And now Planned Parenthood has tried to clarify this by saying in the, quote, extremely unlikely event that a botched abortion happens, Planned Parenthood would provide appropriate care to both the woman and the infant. Mark Thiessen joins me now. He's a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute and a former speechwriter for President George W. Bush. Sally Cohn is a Fox News contributor. Wow, so we're talking about babies that are actually born alive. This isn't, first trimester. We're talking about babies born alive in the course of a botched abortion. And Miss Alyssa LaPolte-Snow, a Planned Parenthood lobbyist, had a whole lot of difficulty, Mark, deciding whether that baby should get any care or whether it should still be left up to the mother as to whether to kill it there on the table.
It's really just amazing to think about it. I mean, with Planned Parenthood, they're calling this post-birth abortion. Oxymoron. I mean, what is a post-birth abortion? When you have a child who has been born alive and is struggling on the operating table for life, it's not a post-birth abortion. It's murder. It's infanticide. And for someone from Planned Parenthood to go up to the Florida legislature and actually lobby against a bill that would ban this practice, that would require that baby be given treatment, that's just outrageous. This is an organization that got $542 million from the taxpayers last year in 2012. We shouldn't be giving a penny to an organization that actively lobbies against, in favor of infanticide.
Why? I mean, Sally, Planned Parenthood does itself no favors in this. I understand that they do family planning for a lot of people, and they provide OBGYN exams for young people who can't afford doctors and so on, and birth control. But just to have their hired lobbyist stand up and struggle with the notion of whether a live infant who managed to survive an attempted abortion was entitled to medical care. I mean, that's a potential game changer in this debate.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, there's no question this woman gave a ridiculous answer. But, it's also a ridiculous question. The reality of abortion is emotional enough. We don't need to be dealing with, these sort of made-up, fear-mongering, horrific hypotheticals. The fact is, there is a federal law that has been in place since 2002, the Born Infant Protection Act, which addresses the issue that this legislature was sort of trying to bring up as a scare tactic here. It's already an issue. It doesn't happen. And, it's just sort of, it was a really, really, really dumb answer, but it also was a nonsensical question in the context of reality.
But she kept saying it over and over. I mean, it wasn't like she was stumped. I mean, if you watch the whole 6-minute exchange, that's how this woman genuinely feels. So she doesn't know whether the infant, the baby born alive, should get medical care. But she thinks at that point the mother should be able to say, kill it.
Right, but
kill
just
it.
for the
Alyssa Snow
I know, and I
believes. And why doesn't Planned Parenthood? I get that they come out now and they say, I know, we gave their statement. They say, of course, we would provide appropriate care to both the woman and the infant. But why don't they condemn Miss Snow? Is she getting fired? Does she still speak for them?
I have no idea, but the reality is, let's go look at the facts as we know them, which is at the federal level, when this law was passed that already addresses these issues, Planned Parenthood and other pro-choice groups did not fight it.
They're on record. Why wasn't it easy then, Mark?
Why
wasn't it easy then for Miss Snow to stand up there and say,
why was she lobbying against it up there?
Of course we care for the baby.
why was she up there lobbying against it? Why, for example, did Barack Obama, when he was a state legislator, oppose born alive infant protection legislation?
Question.
We have right now, there are Planned Parenthood and the pro-abortion left is actively opposes every one of these bills that's going on in state legislatures across the country. And this is not a made-up issue, Sally. There is a doctor right now who's on trial in Philadelphia for doing hundreds and hundreds of quote-unquote post-birth abortions, who would purposely take these babies and bring them to term, bring them out alive, and then kill them. This is happening in our country right now.
Women deliver
and why
babies.
Is Planned Parenthood defending this?
I'm sorry, but it's not true. And let me be clear. First of all, 90% of abortion services happen before 12 weeks in this country, which is well before the age of viability. In Florida, even, for instance, you can't get an abortion after 24 weeks, which also would make this not happen. And it doesn't happen. But there is a reality we should talk about, which is if we're concerned about botched abortions, if we're concerned about the health of babies and women, botched abortions are what happened in this country before abortion was safe and legal, when women had to go to back alleys and drank poison to get rid of their children. They did it either way.
Well,
it should be safe and legal.
Listen, there's no question that not everybody who is pro-choice is pro-abortion, so that is not an accurate characterization. But this seems to be something that we should all be able to agree on. I mean, the baby gets born. It is alive on the table. Yeah. You know what, Miss Snow? The baby gets a doctor. Even 45-minute drive to get the doctor.
And
Mark,
everyone agrees on that.
I'm glad. Mark, Sally, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next, why a schoolhouse picture that hung 60 years without any problem is now threatened with a federal lawsuit. Guess who's in it?
When you have